In this lesson, we'll look at the next and last as they work in VBA. Last in this case means how to find the end of the dataset, not an actual command like last itself. We'll be looking at these two concepts as you may be thinking of utilizing them within a range of data to iterate through the dataset and or to identify the end of your dataset. Whatever the reason is, you'll find yourself needing to know and understand how to move through datasets and find its boundaries. We'll be using two concepts here, the loop with its next iterative ability and the .end command in order to find the last row of data within your dataset. While we have looked at loops before, we'll be using it in this case to stress the ability of the next statement that is located within loops. Let's look at this example. Here we are iterating through what is called a slicer cache. It holds all the information of the slicers that are used within your workbook. Looking at the for loop, we're looking at each individual slicers within the slicer cache. For each SC and SCS. If you look at the next two commands that are located within this block, you'll notice that we're iterating through two separate slicer caches. One plural and one singular. This is because there are multiple slicer caches located within a workbook, one for each set. We are checking through each slicer cache and looking at each slicer and then moving on to the next cache. Using next in this way allows us to have a powerful tool to look through every single slicer cache in the workbook and to check for our condition. This is why the next command is so powerful. Having a method of iterating through each item within the list of objects and items gives you the ability to check through a large amount of data pretty quickly. This is a new command that we have not touched on yet. However, you may have seen examples of it previously. What we're looking to use last for is to identify the last set of data within our range. We can have multiple uses for this, finding the total number of rows, identifying the next row that is available to place data in, and so on. In this example, we're using the .end, open parentheses XL up, close parentheses command 3 times in 2 different ways. The way to read what last row and last row 1 are doing is that we're using the .end command belonging to the range of column A within sheet expenses to find the very bottom row of our data. Once we have located the row that does not contain any data within it, we are adding 1 to this row number because we want to directly reference this row, not the row below it without any data. Once we do that for columns A and H for both last row variables respectively, we're then using the data and the row values that we have found and are cutting and pasting them to their appropriate locations. We are taking this whole range from A2 to the bottom of the dataset and then pasting it to the bottom of our dataset located in column H. Being able to use this last finding command will give you the ability to identify the ends of datasets and work with them accordingly.